Last time these two were together, they were on the same sideline on the field, winning the Super Bowl. Now let's head over to the other side of the field and Laura Oakman.
Hi, Chris. Carson Wentz said he didn't want to make today into a Carson Returns Day, but guess what? It's a Carson Returns Day. This place is pumped up, but Doug Peterson wanted to make sure his quarterback was not. Talking to Wentz this week about controlling his emotions. Peterson will also help by controlling the rhythm of the offense, saying you have to shock the system by starting with a no-huddle 2-minute bang, bang, bang. He won't have time to think. Guys,
thank you very much. And you see it has rained this morning, rain in the forecast all afternoon. Temperature in the 60s. See if that affects Carson Wentz at his brace. But the Colts will receive first because the Eagles deferred on the coin toss as Jake Elliott is ready to kick off. 1-1 Colts visiting the 1-1 Eagles is happening on Fox. Zach Pascal, reserve receiver from inside his own 5-yard line, and moves up all the way across the 30. A good start for the Colts. And Andrew Luck, who has a couple of touchdown passes in each of the first 2 games. And when we sat with him, when you look at what he's done over his career, he was excited. He said, I feel like a rookie being back this season after missing all of last year. He was genuinely that excited just to be playing the game.
Yeah, as concerned as Colts fans were last season as he worked through that injury process, he said it may have been the best thing that he's ever gone through. He's come back with a completely different outlook on the game and on life.
From the Colts 30-yard line. Luck to throw. And dumps it off short to T.Y. Hilton, the gain of 4. And his left tackle, one of the closest friends of Andrew Luck, Anthony Costanzo, remains out of the lineup for this Colts team that starts 5 rookies. And, of course, Marlon Mack, the starting running back, out with a foot and hamstring injury.
Yeah, a little patchwork at the tackle position, but doing a good job there protecting. Very complimentary Andrew Luck was last week of LaRaven.
And Jack Doyle, tight end, out with a hip injury. On second down, Jordan Wilkins carry straight ahead and across the 38. It'll bring up 3rd down and a couple against an Eagle defense very good against the run.
They're very good. Number 1 against the run last season, number 1 against the run this year. That's what I think is going to be the key to this game. One of the things that Indianapolis has done a great job is managing the down and distance, staying ahead of the chains. Look at them right here in this 3rd and short situation. Can they effectively run the ball this afternoon into that Eagles defense?
A whistle and a flag.
False start. Offense number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Saw Joe Haig, the right tackle. Clay Martin, referee. You heard the crowd making noise. Luck talked about wanting to go up tempo and signals, but sometimes on the road and in these weather conditions, not as easy as you think.
No, and that's one of the things. This is one of the venues around the NFL that has a definitive home field advantage when you get down on that field. This crowd has an impact on the game in situations.
Since 2016, no team has a better winning percentage at home than the Eagles. Now 3rd and 7. Eagles rush 4. Luck has time, and he flips it at the last moment to an offensive lineman. Jordan Wilkins was there, but Ryan Kelly, the center, ended up with the football.
Now this is the key to what Philadelphia is going to do today. They've got people walked up into the line, but they bail. This is just a 4-man rush. This is the bread and butter. They don't like to blitz a lot. They can generate pressure with their down 4. That allows 7 players back in coverage. A nice job of their distribution across the field to take away that short game.
Corey Clement in Clement weather. Back to receive the punt of Rigoberto Sanchez, who also kicks off for the Colts. Sanchez inside the 15 of Indianapolis. Slick conditions. Clement bobbles but hangs on and falls forward around the 35 as a flag flies at the 31 of the Eagles. It's been 288 days since Wentz.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That'll back up Philadelphia. 288 days since Wentz has been on the field. It was back in December against the Rams when he was injured. And the fans give a loud cheer as number 11 heads to the huddle. And Wentz related this to hearing about his first start in college, that you think you're ready, it's not up to you, but once you get out there you'll be locked in.
Yeah, a ton of conversation. We touched on the top. You talk to Carson Wentz about it, he goes, listen, all I'm trying to do is win a game. I'm fine. Don't anybody worry about anything.
Asked him his number one goal today, he said stay on the field. And he's throwing on first down, and the coverage pretty good over there. Nate Hairston. And the receiver position beat up. Alshon Jeffrey remains out. They did add Jordan Matthews, a valuable addition, and Nelson Aguilar has been the one reliable in that position.
Yeah, and here they are going a little bit up-tempo like Laura talked about at the top.
2nd and 10. Catch made for a first down. Zach Ertz, who leads all tight ends in catches at the 39 of the Eagles.
Great job working out of the slot. This is going to be a little bit behind on that back shoulder. Good adjustment in the air, knowing that the safety's coming down to put a big hit on you.
Wendell Smallwood checks in at running back.
We're good.
No Jay Ajayi, no Darren Sproles today. Smallwood to the 40 of the Eagles. And a Colts defense missing Hassan Ridgeway and Danico Autry, but Margus Hunt is the guy that drives the engine up front. He's 6'8".
And one of the big guys that we're going to see this afternoon, Darius Leonard, the will linebacker in this defense, a key position in this 4-3 Tampa 2 style. An outstanding game last week.
Quick throw by Wentz and open for a first down. Joshua Perkins, the third tight end behind Ertz and Dallas Goedert. No team throws to the tight end more than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, you touched on all the injuries they have at that wide receiver position, so they have to be a little bit creative in their passing game here, using the tight ends to take up the slack.
49 of the Colts.
Hey, Lexus, don't go! Lexus, don't go! Lexus, don't go! 180! What's up?
On first down, Smallwood has another first down. Inside the 38 of the Colts.
And that's another element that this Philadelphia Eagles offense is going to have. You heard Carson Wentz at the line of scrimmage, controlling the play, changing things at the line of scrimmage. Nick Foles is more of a run-and-style quarterback. He's going to get up, go what's called, maybe shift a little bit, but Carson has full access to the playbook at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he had that little hesitation that he might keep it, and the Colt defense had to wait just a brief moment.
Lexus, don't go! Lexus, don't go! Lexus, don't go! 180! What's up?
After the 11-yard run, Smallwood again. Room for him. Down to the 32-33 of the Colts. Mention the number of skill position players that are inactive today. There's Jay Ajayi looking on. Sproles, Alshon Jeffrey, Mike Wallace went on injured reserve, and for the Colts, Mack and Doyle are out.
Great. 180! What's up?
Sideline and a slight overthrow. There was a hesitation for Joshua Perkins. It'll bring up a third down.
I think that's one of the things you will expect to see when you're talking about a quarterback who might be hyped up a little bit emotionally, and why Doug Peterson wants to control that flow. You may see that ball sail a little bit on those deeper throws.
When we were at practice Friday, and Doug Peterson said we sat down this morning with Carson Wentz and talked about controlling those emotions, because he's that kind of a player, especially in the early go.
180! What's up?
Catch made at the 25 for a first down. It's Ertz again.
We're just going to have to know where Zach Ertz is lined up in situations like this. I mean, he's going to be a go-to guy for Carson Wentz. And a little bit, that's the second time you saw Zaire Franklin a little bit there, kind of confused. Was he supposed to go outside, hang with Zach Ertz inside? So a couple of coverage situations on this opening drive where the Colts have not been sure.
180! What's up?
Blitz coming. Ertz Hurts outside as a receiver, wide receiver, gets inside the 20. Clock still running as he gets near the sideline here. An impressive opening drive, chewing up time and taking the ball downfield.
Yeah, the good anticipation here because they had the blitz coming from this side of the field. So a perfect play call into that two-man blitz by the Colts coming from the offensive right side.
To the line right away. 3 catches already for Ertz. Had 11 last week against the Bucs. Corey Clement. And he's inside the 15. It's another Eagle first down. Carson Wentz in the red zone. Outstanding. Since 2007. No interceptions, no sacks. Producing 20 touchdowns. Three tight ends in. From the 14. Corey Clement knocked out one of the better defensive plays by the Colts on this drive. Nate Hairston coming up from his corner spot.
And that's one of the guys that I really like, Corey Clement, the running back for Philadelphia. He's one of those unique guys. One of the running backs we're seeing around the NFL that are becoming very valuable. The ability to break formation and get outside, play wide receiver positions, and yet be still a very physical inside runner or edge runner.
12th play of this opening drive after a pickup of a yard. Wentz with time for the end zone. It's a touchdown, Eagles. Dallas Goedert.
On the inside right there's Dallas Goedert. We talked about finding Zach Ertz, but you can't lose track of Dallas Goedert. Very similar in what they bring to the tight end position, left wide open.
His first career touchdown. And the first points in the opening quarter for the Eagles this season. And the extra point is good. Goedert, the second-round pick from South Dakota State, on the pass from Carson Wentz from North Dakota State. And the Eagles lead.
Game is sponsored by the new 2019 Ford Edge ST, the first SUV from Ford Performance.
Philadelphia loving the return of Carson Wentz. All of his completions went to his tight ends, including the rookie for the touchdown to cap a drive that lasted more than 5 minutes.
Very impressive. Everybody wanting to see what he was going to bring to this offense, and I love the decision by Doug Peterson to go up-tempo.
Zach Pascal with his second chance to return. And here comes a flag as he gets up at the 29-yard line. Colts got the opening kick, couldn't get a first down. Once the Eagles grabbed the football, their first possession, marched downfield, and as Luck is working on his own comeback, boy, Carson Wentz looked comfortable.
And right now the Colts hurting themselves with penalties. Got into a 3rd and short, had a penalty that prevented them from converting, and now a penalty on this first play.
Sportsmanlike conduct, illegal wedge block on the receiving team. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. First down.
Let's take a look at the tight ends. Here's what they're doing to make up for those injuries in wide receivers. There's your 3 tight ends. If there were 3 tight ends on the field when I was playing, it was a power game. The athleticism that these guys bring to the tight end position in today's NFL is very impressive. Your opening formation, you're really stressing the defense. And you saw right there in the red zone, Zach Ertz split out wide, Josh Perkins split out wide.
And Wentz, you could hear the signals barking about, and Doug Peterson said he changes things or adjusts things at the line of scrimmage more than Nick Foles has. That's just his style. Whatever he called on that drive, it worked well. So the penalty on the block backs the Colts up at their own 7. Jordan Wilkins will go nowhere. Well, Frank Reich said, and he knows this Eagle team as well as anybody, he was here last year, that he has to be patient with the run. But when I said, well, how patient can you be if you fall behind? And he said, well, that's something we'll have to handle when we get to it.
Yes, the score will dictate how committed you stay to the run, and that's his biggest concern, because this is a very good front against the run, and this is something that they've really worked on and want to be a big part of their offense this season.
Luck. 5-yard line, Wilkins Jalen Mills, who some Eagle fans have been saying, okay, you're flamboyant, but you need to make plays. Well, he did right there.
Yeah, a good job in the open field of making the tackle. Watch, come up, come to balance, and then there you go. That's textbook right there by Jalen Mills. And right now, a situation that Indianapolis hasn't gotten themselves into quite a bit here the first 2 weeks of the season. 3rd and longs. They've done a great job staying ahead.
Luck needs 8 yards on 3rd down. Arm hit, ball floated and incomplete. The pressure affected that throw, and it's 4th down.
Again, the ability to get pressure on the quarterback with just 4. Michael Bennett working inside. Chris Long right there continues to press, impacts the throw by Andrew Luck, and the best team in the NFL on 3rd down starting out this game 0 for 2.
Sanchez will be backed up in his own end zone. Corey Clement back to receive. And a good kick. Driving him inside his own 40. Bobbles again, but picks it up. And the Colts bring him down. There's a flag down as well back at the 12-yard line. A couple of penalties already have cost the Colts on each possession.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 50. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down, timeout.
This one will go against the Eagles. It'll back them up 10 yards. Wentz returns and leads the Eagles to a touchdown. And he'll take over on offense once again in a moment.
Is sponsored by the new super powerful Samsung Galaxy Note 9.
Before the injury, week 14 against the Rams, Carson Wentz, 33 touchdown passes. So you saw he missed the last 3 games compared to some other capable quarterbacks. And already a touchdown today in his first game back of 2018. This is 30th career start. 2nd possession from the 29 after the penalty. Open again. Zach Ertz with another 1st down and another catch by an Eagle tight end.
And just a great first drive by Carson Wentz. And again, it was the tight ends that were a big factor on that drive. But I saw nothing in his mobility, his movement. I thought he had great control at the line of scrimmage. We heard him audibling, especially as you got down in towards the red zone. So just a great opening drive for Carson Wentz to make his debut.
And a gain of 13 on the first play here. Smallwood with a big hole. And near another Eagle 1st down as he crosses midfield.
And just the little things right now. That was a great fake by Carson Wentz after that handoff. The play action looked like he held the ball. He froze Indianapolis's defense.
Smallwood, a lifelong Eagles fan who grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, admired Deuce Staley, who's now his position coach, along with Brian Westbrook. Here comes a flag.
I'm going to get on my soapbox here, Chris. I always feel that should be on the offense. Back in the day, if you flinch, they had the line. You got to hold your water. Hold your water. You can't move. Defense has the ability to move and get back. So this should be on the offense.
Worth a discussion by the officiating crew.
Although the defensive player moved, he never made it into the neutral zone. False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's the way I like that play called. I understand sometimes they get in and there's a reaction by the tackle, but I just don't see it on that one. I think there's plenty of time right there for Jason Peters to stay sit. Kamoko Toure is going to be able to get back in position.
Smallwood lines up, Darrell, as a receiver, top of your screen.
Hey, let us go. 81.
2nd and 7 from the Eagle 46, and Wentz in the pocket, moves out of it. And completes the pass There's a flag down in the backfield. Goddard makes the catch. The flag is back where Wentz let the ball go.
All right, let's put it to bed. It's over. He's fine. He's back. The brace is not an issue. The knee is not an issue.
And when he said, I'm going to play the way I always had, he wasn't kidding.
Oh, that was tremendous.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 97. 15 yards added to the end of the play. First down.
I mean, it's Houdini-esque, the way he moves around in that pocket and extends. I mean, he has vision behind him. I mean, it's unbelievable how he gets out of some of these things. Here's the great one right here as he goes back to the inside. Watch this one right here. That is awesome. He's fine. He's back, Philadelphia fans.
You can't even see the brace. And, you know, he said he tried 4 or 5 different ones with modern technology, something light on that left knee, so he'd feel comfortable. It was just bulky, that's all. It just took getting used to. After the penalty, good defense from the Colts on Corey Clement. Well, Carson Wentz said, remember, the goal was he thought he would be ready to start the regular season opener, and he thought his mind was ready, but the doctor said his body wasn't, so he had to wait it out, and admitted that it was a struggle watching. Didn't want to get jealous or insecure about watching Nick Foles take this team through the playoffs and to the Super Bowl and through the first couple of games. But Wentz is back. But 2nd and 13. A tough catch. Zach Ertz couldn't hold it. Darius Leonard, the 2nd round draft pick, the outstanding rookie linebacker from South Carolina State on the coverage. He's coming off an outstanding game. He had 18 tackles, 15 solos in that win over the Redskins.
Defensive player of the week last week. Just an unbelievable performance by him in just his 2nd game here in the NFL.
Frank Reich, first time as a head coach. He was originally, and there's his defensive coordinator, his first opportunity as an NFL defensive coordinator. On 3rd and 13, Wentz in the pocket will go down at the 41-yard line. Kamoko Toure, rookie from Rutgers, making the play.
And I like the adjustment there at the beginning, too. You had an overloaded front to the offense's left side. They kind of balanced that front out. Here's coverage on the left side. Again, there's Darius Leonard. Great coverage underneath. Lengthen the arms. You're going to think you can get some balls over the top. He has a tremendous reach and the ability to deflect passes downfield.
Jake Elliott lining up for a field goal try. From 55 yards in a light rain, very little wind. Kick is not good, but the field position for the Colts will be. Colts defense dug in, and a long field goal try is off the mark. Colts take over on offense, trailing here in Philadelphia.
Sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Burger King. All new juicy crispy chicken tenders are now available. Try yours today, only at BK.
This was a tough one, 55 in the rain, but missed kicks this year, an epidemic, it seems.
Yeah, and a great job by Cameron Johnston on that hold. It wasn't a great snap, but got it down. No worries there.
Good field position. The pass is caught and kept his feet in. That's T.Y. Hilton making the grab. Laura.
Quick thing about the weather right now. I talked to Adam Vinatieri pregame, and he talked about he still felt good from about mid-50s today, but said kicking game is going to get worse as we go on, and I'm already seeing it. Wetter it's getting, sloppier it's getting, just a softer field right now. Also, Fletcher Cox is playing, but has a brace on his right shoulder.
On 2nd down, Luck from the pocket, now moving and going deep. Ball hangs in the air. Here comes a flag. He was trying to go to Hilton. Jalen Mills on the coverage.
A little bit of an underthrow. He's got on the top.
Pass interference. Defense number 31. Spot foul. First down.
You see T.Y. Hilton, he gets on top right there. Now watch, the ball's underthrown. As he goes to adjust to it, you can see the contact right as the ball arrives.
Yeah, that arm over the shoulder.
Not a lot to argue on that one, Chris.
You won't get an argument from me. Maybe from Mills, who's John with Hilton. One of those security guys to go to for luck was Jack Doyle, who's out of the lineup. But a gain of 33 yards on the penalty to the Eagle 15. Nyheim Hines, the rookie from NC State, is in the backfield. On first down, Luck almost intercepted. There were a couple of different opportunities.
They may have gotten it on the third one.
There were 3 Eagles around 1 Colt.
So this looks like a great play by Jordan Hicks, anticipating it, reading the eyes of Andrew Luck. Look at him, trusting everything he sees, almost makes the diving interception, but then Corey Graham. Oh,
a little hot potato. Eric Ebron was where Luck was trying to go with the football. Hines knocked down around the 12-13 yard line, and Fletcher Cox back in making the play. And Jordan Hicks, those two have been grade A on defense for this Philadelphia team.
We saw how effective Carson Wentz is in the red zone, and Andrew Luck pretty good as well. But again, here's another big third down. They've been in third and long situations all afternoon to start here.
Need to get down to the 5-yard line. Quick pass, and falling is Ryan Grant, and it looks like he's got enough the way he fell forward to get the first down.
Now this is a great job by Ryan Grant, because I don't think he's got an opportunity, because Jordan Hicks is coming from the inside again. He's going to go inside here, but watch the linebacker. He sees it too. He's coming out. Great job of making the catch, planting, spinning, and getting north-south.
Grant side is a free agent. Quick pass, quick throw, and incomplete for Hilton. A little bit of up-tempo as they get inside the 5 for Luck. It'll be 2nd and goal. Less than 30 to play in the opening quarter with Darryl Johnston. Chris Myers, nice to have you watching from rainy Philadelphia. End zone throw for Grant. He has his hands on it. Did he keep his feet in? Yes! Touchdown, Colts! A lofty toss from Andrew Luck.
And this is a phenomenal catch. We saw the run to convert the first down. Now watch the catch. I mean, this is not bad coverage by Ronald Darby. It's just a great catch. Ball is in a perfect location. Kind of loses track as it comes in, gets turned around a little bit, but great job catching it high, getting the feet down.
Ruled a touchdown, and they will take a closer look and confirm, and it has been confirmed. 5-yard toss from Luck to Grant. And this extra point by the ageless 45-year-old Adam Vinatieri to tie the game. And he nails it. Grant with a big 3rd down conversion and a big end zone grab to tie this game. They are quarterback comebacks of different proportion, but so far so good.
Yeah, I'm shocked to see 24 yards total for Andrew Luck, but don't forget the one big play that they've had today, the 33-yard pass interference penalty on that drive.
His longest completion is of 8 yards. He just threw the 5-yard touchdown pass. Smallwood will handle that on the touchback, and Wentz will lead the offense back out to the 25-yard line. 7 completions for Carson Wentz, and keep making the point that they've all gone to the tight ends. He does have Jordan Matthews active, his good friend, back with the team.
I think the scary thing for Eagle opponents right now is he spent a lot of time at the facility doing his rehab, so he started to go into the mental side of the game, looking at film, getting involved with the playbook. So now Carson Wentz feels like he has a much deeper knowledge of the system. He focuses on situational things, but he said this offseason, because I was there, I really delved into the playbook.
Corey Clement for 5, maybe 6 yards up across the 30. And as the first quarter winds down in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz with a touchdown pass Andrew Luck with a touchdown pass. Is Wentz aware of the clock ending the quarter? And that is the end of the quarter. By the way, Andrew Luck extending his streak, 26 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, the longest active streak in the NFL. Start of the second quarter from Lincoln Financial Field, and a look at the statistics as Wentz and the Eagles face a 2nd down 4. Josh Adams has come in, making his NFL debut. Rookie free agent from Notre Dame in the backfield. He gets the football and slips past one tackle, but lose yardage as a swarm of Colts get to him, including Darius Leonard. When I talk about him, he just darts, he goes everywhere fast and takes the angles. Yeah, but it's the guys up front that keep him clean and allow him to run. So nice job by that defensive front for the Indianapolis Colts. Clayton gathers 6 tackles in that opening quarter for the Colts, chasing tight ends all over the field of Philadelphia. After a loss of 2. Wentz on the run and is sacked. Here comes a flag, and it may be coverage on Nelson Aguilar. Jihad Ward gets the sack. We'll check the penalty at the 40.
Holding. Defense number 23. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Nice job by the Colts defense, understanding what's happening here early on. They're going to double Zach Ertz. It looks like man in motion. He's going to go to the breakout, but watch, here comes your other safety, Matthias Farley, dropping down in. Had him on the return route, but pressure got him off the spot. Kenny Moore called for the penalty, one of the Colts who plays with a lot of passion, according to the coaching staff. That's a good point, Darryl. The Colts defense had to make adjustments to the tight ends, all 3 of them, because they were burned by him on that opening touchdown drive by the Eagles.
Bundy, 5-0! Bundy, 5-0!
After the penalty on first down, for Clement looked like a big hole that closed in a hurry. Anthony Walker making the play. And don't want to overshadow Anthony Walker, another young good player for Indianapolis in that front, and that did look like a big hole, and you've got Corey Clement coming through there. I mean, he's very elusive. That was a really nice tackle in the open field. At one time, one game, the Colts had Sky Moore, Zaire Franklin, and Darius Leonard, all 3 rookies in at linebacker. One of the youngest teams in the league. Second and 10 from the 34. Wentz dumps it off, and the catch made by Corey Clement. And we'll bring a 3rd down at about a yard or 2. 13 minutes before the half. Clement making the gain. And now, are we in this range? Is this too early to talk about going for it on 4th down? Because Peterson starts thinking about that on 2nd down. Yeah, I think so right now. And it's kind of, that gut feel. How has everything been going so far during the course of the game? I think it's kind of even right now. I would not see him even really kind of contemplating that at this point. They need 2 on 3rd down. Wentz incomplete. Nate Hairston on the coverage, and looked like that was the 3rd or 4th option for Wentz as Cameron Johnston comes on to punt. Oh, they're getting into these wide receiver sets. We talked about, and you mentioned in particular on that opening drive, it was mainly tight ends. We haven't seen that personnel group out there as much, as dominant. It's been more of a kind of a mixture, but it seems to be the one that gave the Colts the most trouble. Right now they're doing a nice job in coverage against the wide receiver sets. Chester Rogers standing inside the Colt 10, and it's going to fall at the 21 and bounce the other way. The Eagles quickly down it inside the 25. Andrew Luck leading the Colts in a tie game here in Philly. The underdog Colts on the road facing the comeback of Carson Wentz in a tie game. Touchdown pass from Wentz, and Luck has one of his own. First down from the 24-yard line. Hines, the rookie from NC State, the running back. He gets the carry and up across the 26-yard line. Well, Luck, you go back 2012, drafted number 1 out of Stanford overall. Started every game. Colts 11-5, made the playoffs all 3 seasons. Went to an AFC championship game. Then from 2015 through 17, missing a series of games through 3 years and missing all of last year, and the Colts missing the playoffs. But he's back and happy to be back. Hilton can't hold it at the 30, and it's going to bring up now Jalen Mills on the coverage of 3rd down.
But I think that that's one of the big things we see with Frank Reich and how he's approaching this. It's not going to be all about Andrew Luck. It used to be how Andrew Luck goes, so go the Colts. That's not going to be the case under Frank Reich moving forward. We've talked about the offensive line, the commitment there. 2 of the 3 first draft picks this year, guards inside. There's going to be a shift in the defense. Matt Eberflus is going to be a guy that he's going to lean on. This is going to become a more balanced franchise on both sides of the ball, but also taking pressure off of Andrew Luck.
Facing a 3rd and 9, that's Eric Ebron, the tight end, former Lion, in motion. He goes into the slot. Eagles blitz. It's picked up for a moment. Luck has time. Now he's going to run. Can he get the first down? And he's still going out of bounds all the way inside the Eagle 45-yard line.
I tell you, that's great poise right there, because the Philadelphia defense recognized something pre-snap. I don't know if it was on this call, but there was a lot of guys coming from the offensive left side. The poise in the pocket, the ability to extend, and now watch Andrew Luck. Now, he's talked about being smarter and not getting, taking the necessary hits. You can see him going down the sideline. Should I go a little further? Can I get a couple more yards out of this?
He said, yeah, absolutely. I learned to protect the body for the good of playing for my team. A 33-yard run by Luck. It's Marcus Johnson inside the 45 of Philadelphia. What a run prior to set that up on a busted play by Luck.
Yeah, and that's the frustrating part for this Eagles defense. They've played well this afternoon. It's a 33-yard pass interference penalty. It's a 33-yard off-schedule run by Andrew Luck. So just keep doing what you're doing. You just got to eliminate some of those minor breakdowns that are costing him.
Jalen Mills went into the injury tent on the Eagles sideline, so Rasul Douglas takes over at the other corner opposite Darby after a loss of 2. Wilkins down inside the 41. And that run by Luck moments ago of 33 yards, that's the longest play of the year so far in game 3 for this Colts team. Have an injured player. Looks like Joe Haig, the right tackle for Indianapolis, and we certainly hope that he is okay. Joe Haig walking over to the Colts sideline from North Dakota State. Back in college, he played with Carson Wentz.
Yeah, number 73 right there. You can see as he gets bent back, his leg was trapped, ankle was trapped. They've been looking at that mobility in the ankle on the sideline.
Denzel Good comes in at that right tackle spot on 3rd down and 9 from the 41 of the Eagles.
Denzel Good's going to be working against Chris Long on his first snap, hopping in the game here on a 3rd and long.
Quick pass is batted away. Chester Rogers the target. Ronald Darby made the play. And it's 4th down.
They're trying to get a quick screen out to the edge and get him in some open space. You can see right there's Corey Graham, 24, walked up. Chris Long, here they come off that side. Quick screen. Nice job by Corey Graham recognizing that, getting a hand on it and deflecting it.
My fault? Yeah, it was Graham batting the ball. Darby on the coverage. Mills was available to come back in, but they've used Rasul Douglas after Mills went out earlier in that secondary. So it's Sanchez to punt. Back standing at the 10-yard line, Corey Clement. Field position game now and a tie game. Fair catch at the 10-yard line. Thursday night's about to get a lot bigger. Fox, the new network home for Thursday night football, and a good one. The Vikings and the Rams. NFC heavyweights collide this Thursday, 7:30 Eastern on Fox. Also live on NFL Network and streaming live on Prime Video. Now it's a game, and a big game, with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Aaron Andrews and the gang as we look at some of the offensive numbers.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, a big game. I mean, that was probably a game last year that a lot of people thought they were going to see in the playoffs. That's going to be a good one.
So far, so good for Carson Wentz. Does not look rusty. Colt defense has made some adjustments from his own 10. And catch made across the 30. Dallas Goedert, who had the touchdown grab, going back to his tight ends.
Working out the outside right there. Little combination. You got Corey Clement kind of coming out of the backfield in the shallow flat. And Dallas Goedert getting down the field at the intermediate level.
Dallas Goedert named. His father was a Cowboy fan. That's why his first name is Dallas. Drafted by the Eagles in the second round. Gain of 19 gets him out of trouble. Wentz incomplete. Coverage good on Zach Ertz. It's time for a game break. Say hi to Carissa. Hey, Carissa.
Hi, Chris. Are you ready for this one? The Bills already up 17-0. Yes, 17-0 when 7th overall pick Josh Allen keeps it for himself for his second rushing touchdown of the day. Believe it or not, Bills up 24-0 in this one. Minnesota is that Thursday night game you were just talking about. Chris?
Oh, wow, what a shocker. And the rookie quarterback playing. We saw what Baker Mayfield did when given the chance on Thursday night for the Browns last Thursday. A lot of people were watching. And, of course, both of these quarterbacks played their rookie seasons. Josh Adams, the pitch. He's got room to run. And a first down up at the 45-yard line. And a flag down back at the 30.
Could have offsides on Indianapolis. Looked like they were calling it on the defense.
Offsides. Defense number 99 lining up in the neutral zone. That penalty is declined. Result of the play was a first down.
A 16-yard run by Adams, making his NFL debut.
Coach Eberflus, one of the things he challenged his guys with was angles, pursuit angles. Let's see how the angles are right here. You can see everybody kind of getting out leverage, kind of poor tracking with Josh Adams there.
Adams had a foot injury in the preseason, but Peterson said, we're going to play him. He's 6'2", 225 pounds. Delay a game.
Delay a game. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. First down.
In Philadelphia with Doug Peterson. Darrell Johnston, Laura Oakman on the field. Chris Myers, nice to have you watching with us. A touchdown each. Wentz and Luck. And then the defense is adjusted. Light rain falling all afternoon. First fall weekend.
Forward whip! Forward whip! Forward whip! Come on, Kelsey, here we go. Sunday!
Fakes. Adams has it. And Adams puts a move on and gets across midfield.
It's just a simple thing, carrying out the final part of the play. And again, we saw in the first quarter, watch Carson Wentz on this one. It's a handoff inside, but because he carries out the play fake, he freezes a lot of the guys so they can't get into their pursuit angles.
And again, Adams active. No Jay Ajayi out with a back injury. Darren Sproles still bothered by a hamstring. Second and 5. Looks like he was right at the first down marker, being pushed back. And that's the first catch, first target for Nelson Aguilar, who came in with 16 catches, tied for the team lead with Zach Ertz. And he got the first down.
Kind of the momentum of this game's kind of been sitting there for a while, Chris. And each team, he talked about the adjustments and filling each other out, but right now it's looks like Philadelphia's kind of picked it up. It sat there for a couple of possessions. They're getting a little bit of momentum here on this drive.
Eagle ground game, getting a boost from Josh Adams. And some confusion there as a timeout is called by Carson Wentz. Time for a message from State Farm.
Who's this guy?
I'm Aaron's agent.
You're not his agent. Gabriel is his agent.
He's my State Farm agent. We just combined his home and auto insurance.
Well, I was not expecting to get an arch rival today, but here we are. is on the way.
911, what is your emergency?
Get him out of here before this thing blows!
What just happened?
911 premieres tonight after the NFL on Fox.
We already had a delay of game earlier in this drive, and now we've got some more confusion here, getting everybody sorted out and lining up. Carson Wentz has to take a timeout on that last series, so not very clean right now getting to the line of scrimmage and getting off.
Yeah, maybe that's some of the rust, since we haven't seen it necessarily in the passing game of Wentz. Wentz with a great fake with room to run. Here's a flag, and he's going to slide. Not quite out of bounds, but down at the 40.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert can't go down low in that situation to block.
Already 5 penalties on the Eagles and 4 against the Colts. You see flags all over the place.
Holding.
No.
Offense number 88. 10-yard penalty. First down.
I thought they were going to get him kind of on like that crackback block, kind of peeling back on a guy, and I thought he'd gone a little bit low, but just a holding penalty.
Well, it negates a 5-yard gain by Wentz, and the penalties affecting progress for both of these teams.
And kind of getting into that spot where they started the game last week against Tampa Bay. Remember, Doug talked about the fact we ended up at a 3rd and 41 early in the game. So right now, again, they're making the mistakes that they're slowing down. They just trying to run the cusp of grabbing momentum, and they've had some negative plays give that back.
Wendell Smallwood, the back from the 45 of the Eagles. Wentz set to throw, open and caught at the 41 of the Colts. Jordan Matthews, a good friend. And he gets a cheer from the Eagle fans in the wedding party of Carson Wentz. Wentz was emotional when they traded him away to Buffalo to get Darby.
Yeah, and you forget it hasn't been too long since he's been here. He was with the Eagles in camp in 2017, so still a lot of familiarity for Jordan Matthews in this offense. And then Carson Wentz told us I can still remember his body language. I can read what he's doing at the top of his route, so we have that chemistry still.
Wentz has it. Wide open. Smallwood inside the 10. 1st and goal, Eagles.
Again, we've seen a couple of miscues in coverage here by the Colts to start this game. Here's another big one. Wendell Smallwood out of the backfield, turned loose into the secondary. You're playing that coverage. You know, I don't think they expect Al-Quadin Muhammad to cover him down the field. So maybe just a great play call by Doug Peterson.
34-yard pickup. Smallwood stays in for Wentz. Low snap, bobbled, and Wentz gets on it. Back at the 15-yard line.
What a great jump by Margus Hunt, who's been a disruptive force on that D-line all season.
See how wet that football was. Soaked.
Right here, I mean, this is just, I mean, he is off on that snap immediately upfield, gets past Jason Kelce, just completely disruptive in the backfield. Lucky for Carson Wentz to get a hold of that ball.
A loss of 7, 2nd and goal. And there is the 6'8" Margus Hunt. Wendell Smallwood will be shoved backward by Hunt.
He's getting on a roll now. Now I remember the story. You know, he's a kid from, you know, outside of the U.S. came to SMU on a track scholarship, and just a very explosive, unique athlete. And all of a sudden the track program is not there, and you're going to decide to bring him to the football team and see what he can do there. And just a physical specimen with the measurables.
From Estonia, and he played with the Bengals. Wonder what that was like, going from Estonia to Cincinnati to Indianapolis.
Estonia to SMU to Cincinnati.
3rd and goal. Carson Wentz has a lot of time and room to run. He's firing for the end zone and incomplete. nothing really opened up. He was trying to go to Ertz, but the coverage good by Nate Hairston.
Yeah, right. The consistency in the pass coverage by the Colts today. I mean, sometimes they've got it locked down and Carson Wentz has absolutely nowhere to go, and then sometimes they're just turning guys completely free. That's a really nice job of understanding that he's going to be moving around, never taking your eyes off of Zach Ertz and getting focused on Carson Wentz, because that's when you drop your guy in coverage.
33-yard field goal try. Jake Elliott, he missed from 55 yards earlier today, going the other way. This one he delivers on. And the Colts in a real battle here. Doug Peterson's team moves out in front by 3 with just over 3 minutes before the half.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL, and by Booking.com.
In the land of the Liberty Bell, the comeback quarterbacks battle continues. Rainy Philadelphia, and after the field goal, Elliott kicking off, 10-7 Philadelphia lead. Each team trying to get to its second win of the season. Zach Pascal is downing it, so to the 25-yard line, it'll be Andrew Luck's turn. So the quarterbacks have done well. Darryl Johnston, Chris Myers enjoying this game. They seem like they're doing okay.
They're doing well. I just can't figure out the stat board right now. I mean, Philadelphia is dominating time of possession, yards. I mean, Indianapolis has 63 yards, 33 of those coming on an Andrew Luck run. So it's only 10-7. So right now they're hanging in there. The big thing, Philadelphia's got 73 yards in penalties. So again, the Tampa Bay game, some mistakes got them off track. In that game, right now, they're kind of in that same position. They've dominated the flow and play of this game, but they're only up 10-7.
And as Doug Peterson said, every week we're getting everybody's best shot, and this coming from his former offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, now the head coach of the Colts. Eric Ebron with his first catch of this game for Indianapolis. And again, Jack Doyle out, and there is Reich, who, as soon as he landed here in Philadelphia, texting Doug Peterson. Peterson texted him back. And what did Peterson tell us? He said, "You don't let him fool you, right? He'll give you that soft-spoken, but he'll rip your heart out for a win."
Oh, he knows to play everybody too. I was here a little bit early, so I was hanging back in the media area, and he sent cannolis to everybody in the media department in Philadelphia.
First down catch by Chester Rogers.
You know, just be the nice guy, right? Yeah, it's just Frank. It's everything's good.
And in terms of knowing the other team, well, yeah, they talked about it. I mean, he knows the signals, the calls. They'll have to make adjustments. And of course, he said they know how I think, too. The offense is similar, at least he'd like it to be, to that of Philadelphia and the success that they had. Hines knocked down right away. Excellent defensive play by Mills, who's back in. As we will hit the 2-minute warning. Colts with all 3 of their timeouts. Luck's turn in a 10-7 deficit as Wentz and the Eagles have the lead. 2 minutes to go before the half here. Piece of halftime report with all the highlights coming up. Cowboys play later on Fox. The Giants are leading, and so are the Redskins, if you're keeping an eye on those teams in the NFC East with the Eagles. Here's 2nd and 11 for Luck and the Colts. And he is sacked. Had a chance to get rid of the ball, but he didn't like what he saw. The Eagles gobbled him up.
Philadelphia's just doing a really nice job this weekend with getting the pressure from just they're showing blitzes, and then guys are backing out, so you've got your line adjusting to it. But that's just four guys coming, and the pocket's just collapsing on top of Andrew Luck.
Derek Barnett, Chris Long, part of that. And the Eagles use a timeout. They will have 1 remaining before the half, and they are set to get the ball to start the second half. Colts will be kicking off. So 3rd and long for Luck.
Probably the biggest thing that Frank Reich will be upset about going in at halftime is they've left themselves in 3rd and longs quite a bit here in the first half, contrary to what they had done the first 2 weeks.
He's been able to be patient because his defense has kept him in this game. Low throw and incomplete. Far from a first down. It'll be 4th down. Let's check in again with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Chris. Little history for you. Drew Brees, he now has another record. That record is the most completions of all time, passing Brett Favre, 6,301. The worthy recipient is Michael Thomas. Falcons leading this one 14-13. Chris?
Thank you, Carissa. Michael Thomas leading the NFL in catches after a couple of weeks, and with a guy like Breeze finding him, congratulations, one of the outstanding quarterbacks in NFL history, Drew Brees. Sanchez from his own 20, and a good boot. Corey Clement looking for somewhere to go. Talked about Frank Reich, the popular offensive coordinator of the Eagles Super Bowl team, hired as the first-year head coach. You saw him say hi this morning to the owner of the Eagles, and there's Carson Wentz. Look at the smiles.
All across the field. I mean, everybody, when they get an opportunity to meet him, it speaks volumes when you have that reaction from your old colleagues when you make it back.
Carson Wentz said he's one of my favorite coaches all time, talking about Reich. He said we have similar values, a positive outlook on life as a football player, a football coach, and as a guy.
I think the Colts franchise got lucky. Josh McDaniels decides not to come and be the head coach, and they get an opportunity to go out and hire Frank Reich. That could work out really well for the Colts.
Corey Clement up across the 30. Yeah, when Frank Reich, somebody said, well, you weren't the first choice for the Colts. He said, I'm used to being a backup, right? His whole career, he has had tremendous games whether it was in college or in the NFL as a backup. And it's funny because Andrew Luck said, I felt bad for general manager Chris Ballard, who was kind of left at the altar. But then when we got Reich, I think it worked out for the best for this organization. Wentz, tackle made right away. Eagles, remember, have just one timeout. This will be third down. And they're just about a yard short here. Their own 37. Now it's going to be a longer third down attempt.
And that's been the big thing here in the first half for the Eagles. Just critical penalties, putting themselves in tough positions.
And you wonder if the Colts, even though the field position isn't as favorable, they have 3 timeouts. If they stop them here or use a timeout, depending, Colts have all 3 of their timeouts. Will they try get some points before the half?
False start. Offense number 71. 5-yard penalty, still third down. Philadelphia will take their third and final timeout to avoid a 10-second runoff.
So the Eagles aggressive here despite the penalty. Eagles out of timeouts. Colts have all 3.
Well, it comes down to this play. You're going to have that 10-second runoff there. So in that 3rd and 6 situation, if you could convert here without timeouts, with 52 seconds left, as opposed to just the 42.
And it's worth mentioning that both of these quarterbacks, these teams, they practiced all week in warm, outside, sunny weather. And the rain originally forecast for early in the day, and then it moved in, and it's been raining all morning and throughout the game. So in other words, they've thrown to this before, but they hadn't had the opportunity to practice in it all week.
I think the big thing, Laura mentioned it earlier in the game, how does this field hold up? That's the biggest thing. There's big bodies out there down in the trenches pushing and shoving on each other, and that field gets chewed up from the 20 to the 20 inside.
The fans are holding up, as you saw. The blitz is on, and Wentz gets away. And still moving. He could run for the first down. Dives toward the marker. And looks like he got it. It is a first down, Eagles.
Again, just further confirmation that he is all the way back. And Doug Peterson said there are no restrictions on him. I mean, that's vintage Carson Wentz from last season. That Houdini-esque ability in the pocket.
Got just enough. From the 38 of the Eagles. Wentz this time nowhere to go. Brought down at the 35, and the clock will run. And no timeouts for Philadelphia. Jabal Sheard with his 2nd sack of the season. Clement has it, and they keep him in bounds across the 40. Clayton Gathers, who has had quite a first half, making tackle after tackle and being involved in so many. The safety from Central Florida.
A really nice job by the Colts there. No timeouts for Philadelphia. Keep the players on the field, run that clock out. Good stuff.
Let's take a look at the plays of the first half, brought to you by Swiffer. And both quarterbacks returning, different degrees. Carson Wentz, first game since last December with a touchdown pass for the Eagles, and then Luck, after a year out of the game, his third start this season with a touchdown pass. Eagles add a field goal, and that's why they have the 10-7 lead. The Colts will be kicking off to the Eagles to start the second half in rainy Philadelphia. Let's head to Los Angeles for the Visa halftime report.
Copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
Time for today's game flow, brought to you by Progressive. Colts getting ready to kick off to the Eagles to start the second half. Glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. A 3-point lead for Philadelphia, and the statistics, Daryl Johnston, heavily weighted in favor of Philadelphia, yet it's only a 3-point game.
Yeah, 3-1 yards, almost 3-1 first downs, 2-1 time of possession, and the skew on the penalties a little bit, but really does that make that this close to the game? So I really can't figure out what's going on. But the good news for Colts fans, you're only down 3 points, so you can continue to play the style that you want to play.
And Frank Reich said coming in, we want to be patient, and the fact that his defense has kept him in it. And the headline of this story, both quarterbacks, when you talk about their performances, even in a light rain here that has fallen all day, they seem to be very comfortable.
Very comfortable. And I think if you're a Philly fan, your biggest concern is, and we touched on this at the top, what would be the impact with the brace that Carson Wentz was wearing? We saw 2 plays there that were vintage Carson Wentz, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. And let's take a look at both of those right now. I mean, the escapability was the one thing that nobody really knew, because you can't simulate this in practice. I mean, that's as good as it was in 2017, and this is another fantastic one right here. And this is a big third down conversion on a 3rd and long situation. And you can see the competitive nature right there, going to convert that.
Yeah, he's taken a hit, he's been sacked, he's thrown a touchdown, and on the other side, yeah, it took a year, but Andrew Luck, and when we talked to him and sat with him, you could see the smile from ear to ear on just appreciative to be back playing in the NFL. And he said that with each game, in other words, after week 1, yeah, shoulder arm felt good, felt even better after game 2, and hopefully he feels just fine after this game.
It's becoming more of a team. It's not Andrew Luck's team, it's everybody's team right now. If you were to see those stats by Andrew Luck in the past, 35 yards passing in the first half, would you really think it would be 10-7? So this is a team that's shifting in what Frank Reich wants them to be about, and you saw evidence of that in the first half.
Wendell Smallwood from the goal line. And the special teams coverage excellent for the Colts. Stopped at the 17, down to the field, and Laura Oakland.
As a good friend would, Doug Peterson immediately complimented his other friend on the sideline and said the Colts have done a great job defensively after their first drive. He said they made the adjustments, and we have not been able to get in that rhythm since then. So he said the biggest thing, take care of ourselves right now, clean up the penalties, score touchdowns, not kick field goals. As for the Colts, Frank Reich said we're getting a good job getting pressure with our front four. We got to keep in front of Carson. Be patient on offense. He said be patient on offense a couple times. We got to take our shots, get the run game going, stay in phase, do a better job first and second downs.
All right, thank you very much, Laura. Josh Adams is the running back, 17-yard line of Philadelphia. He gets the carry, the 6'2" free agent from Notre Dame, barreling forward, runs differently than the other 2 running backs that are active. Again, Ajayi and Sproles inactive today.
And when you're converting third downs, you get 12 play drives, you get 11 play drives. So no 3 and outs for Philadelphia there in the first half. So, you know, I agree with Doug Peterson. You know, we've got to just continue to do what we were doing in the first half, eliminate some of those negative plays, the penalties, but everything is fine. Let's start getting some opportunities for touchdowns instead of lining up to kick field goals.
And a 6-yard run on first down makes it more manageable as Adams remains the back. He gets the football, and this time the Colts are ready. By the way, great audio from down on the field. We have an interesting for our crew, award-winning audio group headed by Kevin McCloskey, who's from Philadelphia, and then works with Chip Weaver, who's from Indianapolis. So they're watching this game closely, along with doing their job very well.
They're not in the same room, are they?
So, no, we had to separate it because they're impartial to do the broadcast, but then they go back to where their roots are. But we thank them for their hard work every week. And it's great to get down into the field and hear what's being said and what's going on as closely as we can.
Go!
On 3rd and 4. Batted away. And it'll be 4th down. Jabal Sheard, who has a sack in this game, got his arms up.
It's a nice job because they have Jordan Matthews open for the first down. He's slow off the ball, but watch Jabal Sheard right there. Drives his man back, Lane Johnson back. Knows he's not going to get to Carson Wentz, but gets his hands up in the throwing lane.
Colt defense adjusting after that opening drive as Chester Rogers back to receive the punt. Wentz has 14 completions. Only 2 have gone to wide receivers. Tight ends, that's what worked well on that touchdown drive. Gets it out of there. Rogers fair catch, waved for on the move, and up around the 35 of the Colts. A look at Independence Hall as Luck will lead the Colts on offense, trailing by 3.
Sponsored by Chevy. Chevy has earned J.D. Power Dependability Awards across cars, trucks, and SUVs.
Eagle defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz. Eagles have not allowed more than 10 points in the first half, and now 13 straight games, and that includes the playoffs and, of course, the Super Bowl run.
170!
Here in the 3rd, Luck trying to get more pressure coming. He has to step up and away, and on the run, open. T.Y. Hilton to the 36 of Philadelphia.
It's a great job by Andrew Luck, feeling the pressure coming in from his right. He's going to come here. He's going to step up, avoid it, and then have his eyes downfield. Look at his eyes downfield as he climbs up in the pocket, finds it. Now, here's the big thing going on right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. They're controlling the flow of this game, but it's explosive plays. It was a 33-yard penalty on a pass interference. It was a 33-yard run by Andrew Luck, and now another big play by T.Y. Hilton.
A pickup of 29 yards.
170!
Jordan Wilkins straight ahead gets to the 34-yard line. Yeah, T.Y. Hilton had gone 6 games without a 25-yard catch or more, the longest drought of his career, until hauling in that pass for 29.
But maybe a function of what Indianapolis is doing offensively. You know, he's going to be spread throughout formation. The ball is going to come out quicker. You got some issues in the offensive line. You got a quarterback coming back from a career-threatening injury. You don't want to be holding that ball and running deep routes all the time.
Check out! 170!
Open on the sideline. He hung the ball in the air, and it was almost intercepted by Rodney McLeod, who got over there. Hilton was open. Just took a while for the ball to get there.
Coming from inside on the slot. Little stutter and go. Really nice job by Rodney McLeod tracking that the whole way.
You're right about spreading the ball around, because it was Ryan Grant in the first half that had the big 3rd down catch and touchdown catch. Hilton has had his share. They've been great on 3rd down coming into this game, but it's been tough against this Eagle defense. He dumps it off to Ebron. High hurdling, but he's going to be short of the first down. It makes a field goal a little more probable.
Well, this is going to be interesting. You mentioned, is Doug Peterson thinking about the 4th downs? I think Frank Reich right now, what is he thinking right now in this situation? It looks like they're going to go for it right here.
Go for it. He's got a system of green light. There are shades of green, yellow, red, whether you would go on 4th. And this looks like a light green, meaning it's manageable on 4th and 2. The pitch. Jordan Wilkins, can he get the first down? And he does. Doug Peterson, Frank Reich, similar play call, similar result.
And when you have that system in place that you talked about with the shades of color, you get up to the line of scrimmage with the play call, everybody knows it, and you're fast. You take that advantage away from the defense. How many times do we see a team in a 4th down situation waste trying to decide what they're going to do, what play are they going to call? That was great because it was scripted. If we get a 4th down we want to go for, here's what we're doing.
first down. Luck looking around. Sideline throw. Coming back to the catch is Hilton. And, you know, Jordan Wilkins, Colts leading rusher in the first 2 games, 5th-round draft pick out of Ole Miss. Doesn't do anything special, just does everything. I think the quote from the offensive coordinator, Nick Sirianni, he's not flashy. One of the best compliments you can say as a coach is that growing up, you don't know how to explain it, but the guy's a good football player and he gets things done. And he did on that play.
Sometimes it's not about measurables. And sometimes we get caught up in these numbers too much, and sometimes you just got to put the film on and see if the guy's a football player.
Hines was drafted in the 4th round, Wilkins in the 5th, and those are the backs that are carrying the load today as Wilkins takes a breather on 3rd down and 4.
Finally getting into a more manageable 3rd down. They've really put themselves in tough spots with 3rd and longs here all afternoon.
From the pocket, now on the run. Throws on the run for the end zone and off the hands of Chester Rogers. Should have been caught for a touchdown.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Should have been caught for the touchdown, and also maybe the other thing, could Andrew Luck have gotten a first down? There goes number 80 pressing to the outside, now coming back, middle of the field, wide open. There he is. I think Andrew Luck's got an opportunity also maybe to run for the first down in that situation as well.
Adam Vinatieri to try from 35 yards away to tie this game. His 23rd season, 13th with the Colts. And just slipped it through there. Second all-time scorer behind Morton Anderson and just a couple of field goals away from tying the Hall of Famer. But he ties this game in the 3rd quarter. Ooh, that was close. Adam Vinatieri, who's related distantly to Evel Knievel and also going back historically, and a member of George Custer's band in the cavalry who survived Little Bighorn, was told to stay back at the fort. Amazing lineage by the Colts kicker, as this will be a touchback and out to the 25-yard line. Let's check in with Laura.
What a horrible way to toss to me. I want to say something about Adam Vinatieri, but how do I top that?
Custer's last
so
stand.
Good.
And to Laura.
Anyway,
hey, at least
guys.
he made it. At least Felix Vinatieri made it out. That's the good news.
Okay, wait, let me do this quickly. All right, so the weather, it's not bad. It's just constant, and it's been a heavy downpour. Not downpour, but the heavy rain this entire first half. Vinatieri switched cleats at halftime, putting in longer screws, and there's a 10 on the sideline, keeping all the footballs dry as well. I would like to be doing my report from there. I talked to Adam and asked him and said, at least it's not windy, and he said, have you seen your hair? I mean, touche, I guess. It is windy.
It is, sir. Well, thank you. As the pass is intercepted. Wentz, a throw picked off by Anthony Walker, who gets inside the Philadelphia 20-yard line.
That's just a bad decision by Carson Wentz right there, because at no time did it look like that receiver was open. Anthony Walker was reading that play the entire time. Going to come in from his right side. Watch him. He's staring right at him. And now he sees the pivot out and just looks at the quarterback. I'm surprised. He was probably surprised that the ball was coming that way.
That's the 4th takeaway by the Colts defense this season, and the first turnover in this game. Wentz, in his first game back, has a touchdown pass and now has suffered an interception. Time for the end zone. Rodgers couldn't hold it. There's a flag down at the 25-yard line.
Yeah. Derek Barnett, just an incredible jump, and it'll.
Holding, offense number 62, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Well, that one would have been called back anyway because of the penalty, but another opportunity for Charles Rogers to make a touchdown catch and not finishing it. But yeah, Derek Barnett had a tremendous jump on that play and had to fall. Yeah, Chester Rogers just not able to finish that.
Yeah, had a first shot at it. By the time he came up with it, was out. And here's the penalty, Darryl, that will back up the Colts. That's on that side where Anthony Costanzo has been missing those tackle spots. Haig, who was out early with an injury, has come back on the other side. Hines is the running back on 1st and 20. Hines from the 27 gets outside. He's inside the 20. And down around the 12-13 yard line of the Eagles.
You have to maintain your responsibility in run defense. You know, Nyheim Hines got in there and everybody kind of broke down. Rodney McLeod slow to get up on the field.
Check on the injury to McLeod will continue in 30 seconds.
It's okay. I'm here.
"911" two-night premiere begins tonight after the NFL on Fox.
Luck talking to Frank Reich as they gain 14 yards, checking on the injury during the timeout to Rodney McLeod.
Yeah, and he's going to be in pursuit. He's coming behind Nyheim Hines. There's 23 right there. Now watch as the player comes in to take the tackle right there. His leg kicks out. Now I don't know if his leg got out of the turf. Hopefully that's just the impact to the knee and it's more of a contusion as opposed to something to do with the joint in the knee. So it's good that his leg was out of the turf. So hopefully that's a good sign for Rodney McLeod.
While they check on the injury, Carissa has a game break for us. Carissa?
I do, Chris. Here you go. Falcons trailing by 2 when Matt Ryan finds his favorite target today, Calvin Ridley. He's got 3 on the day. Falcons up in this one, 20-16. Chris, Darryl, and Lauren.
All right, thank you. Always exciting when those two go at it. The NFC South as McLeod headed over to the Eagles sideline limping. Jim Schwartz will lean on some help back there. Sidney Jones and Corey Graham are the extra DB, so Graham will probably go to that spot since Jones is the nickel or the slot corner. And after a gain of 14 on that Hines run, the Colts back threatening. Frank Reich talking about staying on schedule and being patient.
And you can look how good they were the first 2 weeks. 3rd and short, 13 out of 15. Today they haven't even been in that situation. And here they are again getting close to that. Here's a 2nd down and 6. What will it be on 3rd down after this play?
Hines is tackled right away, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down. Lodi Nada need to get down inside the 8-yard line for a 1st down.
And again, another important play and up-tempo, prepared for this to get into this 3rd down and go up-tempo.
Quick snap, pass for the end zone, and Ebron knocked away, and it's incomplete. Jalen Mills making the play. It looked like a catchable football for Eric Ebron.
That looked like he may have gotten some good body position. Watch the end of the route, and the ball is underthrown. He's going to come back. It looks like he's kind of boxed out Jalen Mills, but he's able to come over the top and make a play on that.
Ebron is 6'4". Mills is only about 6 feet, but he got that hand in there to knock it away. So Vinatieri with a chance from 31 yards away to give the underdog Colts the lead. Last one was close on the right, a little more room here. And he moves closer, 1 kick away from tying NFL history. But the Walker interception of Carson Wentz set up Vinatieri, and the Colts have a 3-point 3rd quarter lead.
Sponsored by NFL Sunday Ticket, only on DirecTV. And by Burger King. Mix and match 2 of your favorites, including all new crispy chicken tenders for just $6.
45-year-old Adam Vinatieri, one away from tying Morton Anderson for the NFL record of field goals made, 564. This is Vinatieri's 340th NFL game. Ties him for George Bland at 4th on the all-time list, a kicker quarterback back in his day. What staying power he's got, and he's 2 for 2 today, as Smallwood from the 3 will return. And again, excellent special teams play by the Colts. Pins him inside the 20. Marcus Johnson helping to make the tackle.
And here's the quarterbacks this afternoon. Obviously, the big miscue by Carson Wentz on that last possession, the interception. The defense able to hold him to a field goal, but you can see the production, not really there from Andrew Luck. Again, not a great afternoon against the Redskins, but they won. They kept Washington from scoring. This is a different team, Indianapolis. It doesn't always ride by the way that Andrew Luck is playing.
Redskins happen to be leading against Green Bay. Giants are also winning. Cowboys play later tonight on Fox, or later this afternoon out in Seattle. Eagles trailing for the first time today. Come on. Gets loose. He's got a first down up near the 35-yard line.
Really nice job by the offensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles, just staying on their feet and moving. You're going to see everybody as everybody comes out to the right side, maintains their footing, able to get outside, and just a good run by Corey Clement.
And it has been a by committee without Ajayi and Sproles. Adams is the leading rusher today so far in his NFL debut for Philadelphia. Clement to the 40.
Jeff Stoutland does a real nice job with this offensive line, and they do a lot of different things in their run game. That time you've got Steve Wisniewski pulling from the left guard spot, leading around to the right side. So you got to be prepared for a lot of different styles of run game.
From the 39, a little up tempo without a huddle. 120. What's his on?
Hey, let's go Arizona here. Arizona here. 180. What's up?
Wentz straight ahead and brought down at the 43-yard line. Heard Arizona here. Arizona here. They beat the Arizona Cardinals here last year. Wentz, who had 33 touchdowns in his 13 games the last season before the injury, only 7 interceptions. Touchdown on a pick today. Facing a 3rd and short, they need to get to the 45. First down across the 36-yard line.
And a lot of talk about Joshua Perkins coming into this game. He's a big body on the outside. He's got wide receiver skills, but right there you can run to his side, and he's able to come down and make the key block at the point of attack. Watch 83 come flashing in to get that block right there. Well done.
Great. Easy. Hey, Liz. We're good. 180. What's up?
Incomplete. Joshua Perkins looked like he had it at midfield and couldn't hold it. I was just going to say the tight ends who were so prominent in the first quarter, we haven't seen a lot of them lately.
No.
By the Eagles. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
And Joshua Perkins coming off the field. We saw all 3 on the time a lot of times there in the beginning. Now it's been 2 and 2. We've seen 2 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. Has been the personnel group that they've been using predominantly since that first drive.
Ertz leads the Eagles with 4 catches. Goddard has 3 and the touchdown from the tight end position as Wentz sets to throw, and there is right on cue. Zach Ertz down around the 26 of the Colts.
Really good play design here, because you're going to have your first tight end go up and go to the outside, and then Zach Ertz is going to break to the inside. You see right there, puts the safety in a tough position.
A 28-yard gain spotted at the 25. Smallwood down to the 20. Maybe score him for an extra yard or 2 inside of that. Under 5.5 to play here in the third quarter with Laura Oakman on the field, Daryl Johnston, Chris Myers, our producer Fran Morrison, director Brian Lilly. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox. Colts going toe-to-toe with the defending Super Bowl champs.
Easy. Let's go up. Fork truck. Yeah, 21. Go. Like it, Sil? Like it? Georgia. Hey, Lexus, Georgia. Wyatt. 180. What's up?
Nelson Aguilar puts a move on and fights near the first down marker.
You got to do a little bit of everything at the wide receiver position in both of these offenses, and some of that is a little bit of blocking too. You're going to see the pull here. He gets everybody to think run, and then you got the quick screen out to the other side, but you need a blocker, right? So there's Kamar Aiken out there working hard, getting the block. Good run after the catch by Nelson Aguilar.
Third down and a yard. Or less. Smallwood has the first down. With a little bit more, taking people with him.
Isn't it amazing how that rhythm returns? I mean, you talked about the opening drive, and it was just precision all the way down the field. A personnel group that they found out you make the adjustments by the Colts and you stymie them for really the rest of the game up until this point. Now all of a sudden this series comes out and you get back into that rhythm you had on the opening drive.
I mean, it looked like he just had a couple. He picked up 8, and Smallwood is not a big guy, but he has a first and goal. Eagles from the 8. Wentz, a little high for Smallwood, who couldn't hold it. Second and goal.
This is one of the areas we showed you the stats in the first half, but Doug Peterson, and actually last year with Frank Reich, it was one of the areas they wanted to work with Carson Wentz on situationally, the red zone and third down, and he had a tremendous season in both of those areas.
Wentz nearing the 200-yard passing mark. 2 tight ends in. Corey and Clement, the back. He's got the football and knocked down around the 6-7 yard line. It'll bring up a third and goal.
He's done such a nice job with the play fakes during the course of the day. You wonder when he's going to pull that one. I mean, it looked at that time that there was an opportunity for him to get on the edge.
Looks like 3 tight ends have come in for Doug Peterson. Just inside the 7-yard line. Josh Adams. Oh, there's a lot of moving around. There, Corey Clement back there. Wentz looks, throws, knocked away. And the Colts keep him out of the end zone. Clayton gathers from his safety spot, and Ertz was the target.
Nice job by Clayton Gathers. He's going to be number 26 coming into your screen. Watch the break. Ertz sits down. Here he comes. You know, trust in his eyes. Getting a great jump on that ball.
Not quite in the range of going for it on 4th and goal. So a 24-yard try for Jake Elliott to tie this game. And he nails it. 13 each. Under 3 minutes to play in the third. Colts defense hangs tough.
And it's sponsored by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
5.5 minutes. No touchdown when they got down close, so the Eagles settle for a Elliott field goal and getting ready to kick off. Good enough to tie the game at 13.
Yeah, but frustrating. That was one of the things that Doug Peterson mentioned at halftime, being more effective in the red zone, scoring touchdowns, not kicking field goals.
Zach Pascal will let that sail through out to the 25. Let's get a game break from Los Angeles.
Thanks, Chris. So the Packers were down by as much as 18 in the first half, but Aaron Rodgers, even with one good leg, is going to go to work connecting with Devontae Adams there for that 2-yard score. Redskins still lead this one 28-17. Chris, Darrell, and Laura.
Thank you for keeping us updated. Upsets brewing around the NFL, including Buffalo leading big in Minnesota and the Packers trailing. And here, a tie with the visiting Colts. Catch made at the 30. Let's check in with Laura.
The last time we saw Rodney McLeod, we saw him limping pretty severely. The good news is by the time he got off the field to the sideline, he was able to put a little more pressure on. He was in the tent for an extended period of time. The Eagles training staff taking him into the locker room where he remains as they look at that knee injury. He is questionable, Chris.
Thank you. Corey Graham has come in at that safety spot. Luck has only passed for 75 yards in this game. He had a big 33-yard run. And Hines is thrown down. It'll be third down. Barnett grabbed him and didn't let him go.
Fletcher Cox, I mean, he's such a tough guy inside. You talk about mismatches on the edge of the pass rush, but in the run game, number 91 inside is one of the more difficult matchups you'll have. Nowhere to go for Nyheim Hines. Derek Barnett gets to clean it up, but it's all done by Fletcher Cox right there.
Having a Pro Bowl start to the season, Cox, with already a couple of sacks, 2.5. Throw bounces towards Hilton at its 4th down. And a flag down up around midfield.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get one in the backfield.
Either way, if it's against the Colts.
Pass interference. Offense number 13. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
T.Y. Hilton, the leading receiver for the Colts, with 4 catches in the game. No need to accept the penalty because the Eagle defense forcing the 4th down punt. Sanchez. Pressure coming, and he got it away. And a kick. There's a flag down as he went down. Clement thrown down at the 20, but that flag is back where Rigoberto Sanchez is leaning over in pain.
A big collision. DJ Alexander came through clean up the middle.
It was a 4th and 5, so any kind of penalty here.
He's got to learn how to act a little bit because this is a pretty violent collision, and he stayed on his feet. I mean, clean up the middle, misses the block, and now watch this. Boom! I mean, just now sell out. Go to the ground, and oh my gosh.
DJ Alexander of the Eagles. He saw the flag, and you saw his reaction.
Running into the kicker. Defense number 57. 5-yard penalty. It's still 4th down.
So
if Rigoberto sells that, that's an easy roughing the kicker sell.
Yeah, the difference between running into and roughing, and I thought it was 4th and 5, so maybe the measurement is not exact. And this is probably too close for them to go for it. Looks like they're going to go, which is shocking at their own 35-yard line.
Right at 13-13. In the 3rd quarter?
In the Eagles building?
You talk about trust. You know, this whole thing is supposed to be about trust with your players. This is a lot of trust that Frank Wright has.
Maybe just try to draw him off. Yeah, that's what we figured.
All right, they weren't going to move.
So did the Eagles. And so did the crowd here. It's a good point about Sanchez selling that more on a running into, because you can't just count. It was that close, so a little more than 5 yards. But Frank Reich playing a little, I'll go for it if you go for it on 4th down with his counterpart. So Sanchez will go back out and try it again.
Dave Phipp does a great job with the special teams for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he had his punt block set up, and DJ Alexander came clean. He just didn't finish it and get the block.
Had he deflected the football, he'd have been in good shape, because then the kicker becomes secondary. High kick. Well, at the 20, the ball's loose. Kind of a muff punt, but it looks like he got it back for himself. That's the second or third time today. Hasn't lost one yet, but it's been an adventure.
Yeah, Corey Clement has been very aggressive fielding punts all afternoon. This one's kind of routine for him, but it's the one he has a little bit of trouble with. Hits the ground, and very fortunate he's got players right there.
Colts were scooping underneath.
Chris Milton, almost an opportunity to get that ball back for the Indianapolis Colts.
Spotted at the 19. Eagles take over. Tied at 13. Josh Adams stopped short of the 20. Saturday college football doubleheader on Fox. The Big Ten, number 19 Michigan against Northwestern. Then number 10 Washington hosting 25th ranked BYU. Kickoff at 4 Eastern on Fox and always on the Fox Sports app. Well, 17 of the 27 passes have been targeted toward the tight end for Carson Wentz and the Eagles today. 9 of those have been complete for over 120 yards, including a touchdown. Wentz tipped away at the last moment. Intended for Nelson Aguilar. Malik Hooker may have saved a touchdown.
Well, that's just tremendous confidence in what you can do as a safety. Because if he misses this is a touchdown. See, track that and see if that should be Kenny Moore there. He's going to come back. He's playing deep half. So as he cuts across right there, leaves his feet and trusts his ability to make that deflection. That's all or nothing right there. If he doesn't get that, that's a touchdown.
And he made it look kind of casual. Former first rounder out of Ohio State from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Malik Hooker. 3rd down and 9. Wentz takes the ball's out. It's a fumbled football, and the Colts are on it. Margus Hunt comes up with Wentz's second turnover.
He has been a force inside during the course of the day. There's big Margus Hunt right there. And coming across, a little bit of a loop right there. Good job. Gets his hand on it, knocks it free, and then the hustle, to get down and get it covered up.
And track the football. Our rules analyst, Dean Blandino, watching and says that's a clear fumble and recovery from his point of view. The replay officials here in Philadelphia are all on top of it, and they have reviewed and confirmed.
How opportunistic has this Colts team been? They have not done much with the football when they've had it. Philadelphia giving them good opportunities and cashing in on those. Let's see if they can do it again.
Zone throw late and incomplete. Trying to get it to Ebron. That's just an awkward connection today between Luck and Ebron.
Yeah, opportunities here is at the top of that bunch on the right side. A clean release up the field. He's got his guy beat, as you pointed out, Chris, just a little bit late on the throw, and it allows Sidney Jones the opportunity to get back in and make a play.
Ebron does have a couple of touchdown catches this year over the first couple of games. 2nd and 10 from the 14. Jordan Wilkins, the running back. Quick pass. Pascal to the 10-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down as the 3rd quarter winds down. Oh, we got a Dilly at Philly. Tied at 13. The return of Wentz, the continued comeback of Luck, and in the rain, we're tied after 3. Margus Hunt with the fumble caused and recovery of Wentz. Colts have a chance from the 10 of the Eagles, but facing a 3rd and 7. Andrew Luck dumps it off to Wilkins, knocked down right away. Nigel Bradham made the play. Looked like a safe play.
Yeah, and you wouldn't expect that. I mean, you've got now 2 created turnovers, one inside the red zone, one just outside the red zone, and Philadelphia's defense they come out, they make a stand, they hold them to a field goal. On the first one, they were going to force a field goal attempt here on this one. So yeah, I was surprised by that. It did look like a conservative play call.
28-yard field goal try, but he has been automatic from this range for a long time for NFL history to equal Hall of Famer Morton Anderson, and he does. 565 field goals. Vinatieri equaling Anderson for the most in NFL history. Originally a New Orleans Saint, Morton Anderson. 23rd season for Vinatieri, his 13th with the Colts.
We had a feel for that coming into the game, so I talked to him before the game and just saw what his routine was. Just he's played so long. He goes, I don't kick as much during the week, trying to save my leg a little bit there for game day. But he goes, on game day, I tend to kick a little bit too much. I've got to get into that right frame of mind mentally, and I still go through my process that I've been going through my whole career, but my leg really can't take that.
I mean, with all the kickers that were shaken up this week that may have cost teams and jobs that were won and lost here at age 45, he gets it done after the second takeaway by the Colts.
Yeah, just a great job of never giving up on the play by Margus Hunt. Blocked and just reaching out, sees Carson Wentz stepping up and gets a hand on that ball.
I mentioned the Colts are one of the youngest teams, and the Colts were joking with us saying he skews everything at age 45. We'd be the youngest in the universe. But the young Colts, with Smallwood downing it, have a 16-13 fourth quarter lead with Darryl Johnston, Laura Oakman down on the field, Chris Myers. And I think we thought that we'd get a great defensive game from the Eagles regardless of the quarterback play. I don't know that we expected the Colts defense to be as good as they have been today.
A little bit different Colts team, the way that they're made up. I think if you look at the last 2 weeks and see the numbers that Andrew Luck put up against Washington last week, do you really expect to win the way that Indianapolis has played in the past when Andrew Luck has been their quarterback? And again today, statistically, this is skewed to the Philadelphia Eagles. His numbers are not great from the quarterback position, but Frank Reich is doing things a little bit differently here. This is a very good defensive team under Matt Eberflus that's getting better, week to week. He's challenging them, and it's very complimentary in what they do in Indianapolis.
On first down, knocked down right away.
Again, the longer you keep a young team in the game, the more confidence they get. And this is a young team in Indianapolis, and they're gaining confidence every series right here. So
this is Leonard, Darryl, who we talked about the lengthy arms and the active linebacker. You addressed angles, something they wanted to improve on. Excellent tackle ability to get there right away.
Yeah, trusting what you see. Understanding all your film work, your practice reps during the course of the week, and shooting that gap.
After a loss of 3, Wentz from the pocket. Catch made at the 29 and knocked backwards. Goes back to Dallas Goedert, who had the first touchdown of this game on a throw from Wentz.
And I think we have to understand too. This is an Eagles offense right now that's in a little bit of transition as well. Everybody thought, Carson Wentz is going to step in and everything's going to start firing on all cylinders. There's a lot of new faces out there for Carson Wentz. He lost a lot of production from the guys he played with last season, so just adding him back into the lineup wasn't going to cure all the issues.
Not having Alshon Jeffrey, Darren Sproles, Jay Ajayi. On 3rd and 6. 4-man rush. That's a catch for a first down, that extra lunge. When he caught it, he didn't quite have it, but Nelson Aguilar looked like he got to the marker, and he's making sure everyone sees that he did.
Yeah, it was a really nice run after the catch, because I agree with Chris. I don't think he's going to get the first down. You see that little move right here, right there as Darius Leonard's coming across, be able to step behind him and then get back upfield.
You just sense with the momentum, too, had that failed in a 4th down, having to punt. But the gainer gives the Eagles a fresh set of downs against this Colts defense. Gets in trouble, and he's sacked at the 25-yard line by Darius Leonard. That's the 4th sack of this game for the Colts defense.
Yeah, just a nice job. Is going to be coming in on that loop from the linebacker position. Gets caught up inside. The running back has got to check his protection before he goes out.
And a dance from Leonard, the 2nd-round draft pick from South Carolina State. Matt Eberflus, the first-year defensive coordinator, former assistant with the Browns and Cowboys. Clement, big hole, keeps going, flag down, first down. And the Colts are pointing as if it's coming back. Penalties already.
Holding, offense number 30. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 2nd down.
So that's 9 penalties accepted on the Eagles. And blows up what would have been a first down run.
Yeah, I mean, that's not the right call. I think it was on Dallas Goedert down in the secondary. I mean, obviously Corey Clement had the ball, so he's holding on to the ball, but I don't think he get flagged for holding on to the ball. So, yeah, just a missed call right there. I think it was on Dallas Goedert in the secondary.
2nd and 26, back at the Eagle 20. Wentz, incomplete. Let's get a game break. Wait a minute, before we do that, there's a flag down. Wentz was looking in the area with 2 Colts. Hairston.
Pass interference. Defense, number 27. Spot foul.
So that's Hairston on Ertz.
Here's Zach Ertz working against number 27, Nate Hairston. Yeah, pretty easy call right there. I saw the tail end of it, but it was mainly on the route up the field, not as he broke back.
I mean, that's a major penalty on 2nd and 26 when you're backed up, and obviously a corner on a tight end, but Zach Ertz isn't just your usual regular tight end. Let's see how they spot this. Is it just a hold?
Or you said pass interference,
yeah,
so it should be a spot foul.
Instead, they changed it to a defensive hold. So they spot it at the 25. But the good news for the Eagles, they get the first down.
And that's the point you bring up. 2nd and 26. Understanding down and distance means a lot of different things for Nate Hairston right there. It's 2nd and 26. Don't hold.
Wentz underneath. That's Dallas Goedert. And a game break with Kurt Menefee. Say hi, Kurt. How are you?
Well, hello, Chris. I tell you what, though, Clay Matthews says hello to Alex Smith and got flagged again. Roughing the passer was the call on this one. 3rd straight week he's been flagged. 3rd straight week it's been questionable. That kept the Washington drive going. They lead it by 11 right now, and we're still scratching our heads on that.
And I think they are around the league, Kurt. Thank you. There's an upset brewing there. Buffalo and Minnesota with the lead, and the Colts a lead here in Philadelphia.
50, 120.
From the 32, Smallwood, a first down. Our rules analyst did not agree with the last penalty in the last call. Yeah, the one they showed on Clay Matthews, as most of the people, I think, are. Even you as an offensive guy.
It's getting hard today. I mean, the helmet's to the side. You know, I understand picking up and driving the quarterback into the ground with all your body weight on, but you can see these guys trying not to commit that penalty, and they're still getting flagged for it.
Well, I think on the Luck 33-yard run, we saw some defenders kind of cautious about going after the quarterback, even though he wasn't in the pocket, just because the calls. And looks like they got Margus Hunt.
Encroachment. Defense, number 92. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Penalties hurting the Colts now at the 41 on a 1st and 5. Doug Peterson, an aggressive play caller, uses analytics, but at the end of the day, the gut fitting the player and the situation. Wentz. Goddard has it, and a flag flies in the secondary.
Yeah, Indianapolis being able to do effectively what the Eagles have done today, and that's getting pressure with just their down 4 in the rush.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Defense number 35. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
The call on Pierre Desir, backup defensive back, but no need when the catch gained a first down to the 47 of the Colts. Trailing by 3, Wendell Smallwood the back for Carson Wentz, who's 20 of 32, 230 yards and a touchdown with a pick. Smallwood fights hard to get down to the 40. Looked like he was stopped at the 45.
He has done a really nice job this afternoon getting yards after contact, and that's something you don't really expect from him. He's kind of out of that Corey Clement role where he's an undersized guy that's shifty on the edge, good in the passing game. But look at this. I mean, this is the second time we've seen him, maintain his balance and drive downfield for extra yards.
He's the game's leading rusher, 9 carries, over 50 yards. Those were tough yards, 7 of them on second down.
Bundy 50! Bundy 50!
Wentz is in trouble. And Leonard got to him. Are they going to call it a sack? Looks like the official is saying he's down. He pointed right away. We just didn't hear the whistle. But Darius Leonard was in on Wentz. He did not bite on the fake.
Darius Leonard, good job. He's creeping up. Doesn't get pulled by the fake. They had a nice play set up. It's a great job by Carson Wentz staying alive, and they had called in the grasp and had him down at that point.
And as our rules analysts tell us, it doesn't matter the whistle. If the official rules the play down, dead, it's over. Not reviewable. And a loss of 9. 3rd and 12. Catch made at the 43. It's Jordan Matthews short of the first down.
Well, this Colts front is really, they're starting to get to the quarterback. They're not getting some sacks, but they're getting pressures, they're getting hits on Carson Wentz.
And this is in the wheelhouse of the aggressive play caller Doug Peterson on 4th down. Let's see the spot here. Actually, they're going to get spotted at the 42. You see, last week they were busy against Tampa Bay on 4th down. They need 5, a little less than 5. 4-man rush. And open, but he couldn't get the ball there. There was pressure, and there's a flag down. Margus Hunt was in on Carson Wentz.
Holding. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Jabal Sheard called for a defensive hold up front.
Yeah.
On a 4th and 5.
You see that in the running game a lot, but he's going to use it here to try and prevent the guys from kicking out. Here's where your hold's going to be. He's going to, these two guys working 2-on-2, right? So you go back inside and you grab and pull. That allows Margus Hunt to get around on that stunt and impact the quarterback.
Big penalty, and that's what this drive has been about. Colts penalized. Eagles moving it forward to the 37-yard line of Indianapolis. Right away, Margus Hunt throws Smallwood to the turf, was not fooled at all.
This guy, he's starting to take over the game right now. Holy smokes.
Maybe this is Frank Reich knowing what Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson want to call.
Well, I tell you, that's a situation where you're talking about decision making, and this is Carson's first start this season coming off that injury, and there's no reason to throw that ball. Because Marcus Hunt is right there. That's going to be a tackle for a loss. Throw it into the feet and line up and go 2nd and 10.
Loss of 8. This has been a rocky drive with penalties and lost yards. Smallwood the back from the 45. Wentz has time and dumps it off to the 40. And down to the 36-37 yard line is Smallwood. Under 5.5 minutes to play.
I mean, the escapability, the strength in the pocket, we saw it on the sack that they awarded to Darius Leonard when Carson Wentz almost avoided that. And then here again, he's just able to move around and make throws off of all these different platforms. It didn't even look like his feet were on the ground on that one.
Facing a 3rd and 9. If you get 4 yards, you could try a 50-yard field goal. They tried a 55-yarder earlier. It depends what the Eagles gain here. Extra pressure coming, and Wentz gets out of it, completes. Aguilar diving toward the first down marker. And he got the first down.
Matt Eberflus is going to be so frustrated right now because it's a great call on that 3rd down situation. You dial up pressure, your pressure gets home, but you've got Carson Wentz and you can't get him down. There goes 13 across the field, Nelson Aguilar. But that doesn't even happen. That play doesn't happen unless you have a quarterback that can extend a play like that.
Yeah, and if there's no rust in Wentz's escapability, and I don't use that word very often, but it certainly applies to what he does well. Corey Clement breaks a tackle. And inside the 12 of the Colts. Tough running from the Eagles.
It's amazing when a guy makes a play like Nelson Aguilar just made. What happens on that next step. Now watch Corey Clement. He's going to do the same thing. Runs through a tackle right there and gets some extra yards after contact.
Time of possession that's been heavily weighted in front of the favor of Peterson's Eagles all day, and it still is. Maybe that Colt defense getting worn down by this Eagle offense. 14-yard run. And a first down for Wentz and the Eagles. This drive nearing the 11-minute mark. And under 3:40 to play.
And overcoming some self-inflicted mistakes during the course of it as well. It's been a crazy series on both sides.
As well as the Colt defense has played this entire game, the penalties in this drive have hurt them, and then a few missed tackles. And they came in as one of the better tackling teams in the league. It's a loose statistic, but they don't miss many tackles. At least they have it in the first few games. From the 9-yard line, flag flies. Smallwood inside the 5. Each team 9 penalties accepted so far. Darius Leonard is slow getting up for the Colts.
Offsides. Defense number 97 lined up in the neutral zone. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
It's another Colts penalty assisting this Eagle drive.
Yeah. The lining up in the neutral zone, that one always gets me. I mean, as a defensive lineman, your hands down, you can look inside and see if you're onside or not. And it's just, it's got to be frustrating for Frank Reich in that situation.
See on the spot, make sure Leonard is okay.
Philadelphia has elected to enforce that penalty half the distance to the goal.
That was the discussion with our referee and Doug Peterson. So the spot Still not going to be a first down. Let's see, it'll be inside the 5 or right at the 5. Doug Peterson wanted to make sure he got the most yardage he could, and that's right just inside the 5. Call it 2 yards needed for the first down. They've had the ball for over 11 minutes on this drive. Smallwood, the running back. It's the 17th play of this drive. Smallwood has it, and that's going to be an Eagles touchdown.
That's one of those statement drives. You mentioned some of the numbers. That's the 18th play, over 11 minutes, time of possession. And one of the concerns that Doug Peterson had was kicking field goals and not getting touchdowns. They finish it with the 6 points with an inside run.
And you could see the Eagle offense gaining. There's Wentz excited, the upper hand on this drive. Whether it was penalties or not, the Colts defense getting worn down by Philadelphia. And Smallwood punches it in.
Big PAT right here.
Wendell Smallwood, his first touchdown of this season, and it gives the Colts the lead here in the fourth quarter.
Sponsored by IBM. Let's put smart to work.
See Nick Foles in the forefront, game on the line, fourth quarter. Carson Wentz at his first game back, leading the longest drive in times of possession by the Eagles since 2000. And yes, they got the touchdown to take a 4-point lead with just over 3 minutes to play. Touchback Colts. Andrew Luck, 18 career winning drives, and he'll be on the clock when we return. Frank Reich at his first year as the head coach of the Colts, coming back to the place where he was on the sideline of the Super Bowl winning team, the Eagles, with a chance, trailing by 4.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Andrew Luck is quarterback.
And an opportunity for him to really cement a lot of the things that he's been talking to his guys about right now. The 3 teams, toughness, trust, and team, the aggressive mentality because they believe in you guys as players. Here's an opportunity with the game on the line to really cement those things.
Who else steps up for Luck from the 25 on first down? Hines has it with room to run. Nyheim Hines gets a first down as he's knocked down up across the 35, and here comes a flag. It was penalties that hurt the Colts defense on the Eagle drive moments ago. Ten penalties accepted on the Colts, 9 on the Eagles so far.
There is no foul on the play. Result of the play is a first down.
So it looked like there might have been a lowering the helmet, but no flag. They pick it up. Well, they threw the flag, no penalty. Still a 12-yard gain and a first down. 91 passing yards for Luck. His career low is 109. For Hilton, and here comes a flag. There has to be. Jalen Mills was all over.
Yeah, the best play in the passing game for Indianapolis today has been the underthrown pass for a pass interference penalty.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 31. Spot foul. First down.
They're at the bottom of the screen, 13 working against 31. And again, it's going to be underthrown. And just, you have to know where the football is, or now you got to fight back through the player, and you can see all the contact as the ball arrives.
It's really a tough play for Mills, but you're right about the position. It's an 18-yard penalty, but you see grabbing the jersey. The officials look for that. At the 45, a first down with Hines and Hilton, the speedy guys, in for the Colts. And Luck airing it out for Ebron, and overthrown. Luck trying for a drive to put the Colts ahead. Carson Wentz, by the way, that touchdown drive that we talked about moments ago, he was 8 out of 8 passing. The 8 of some penalties, but got the Eagles into the end zone, and now Luck will try and counter that. Second and 10. Time and open. The catch made. Ryan Grant, who has a touchdown catch. That's only his 3rd catch of the game. He had 2 in the opening quarter.
Yeah, and you were asking, commercial break, where's Ryan Grant gone to? He was good in the first half. Split all the way here outside. Watch the in route. Pretty simple right there. Really nice throw over the top of Jordan Hicks by Andrew Luck.
A gain of 22, nearing the 2-minute warning. He should. Let's see if he snaps it before the 2-minute warning. They let some valuable time get away there. Could have run a play, but maybe by design. Each team with 3 timeouts. Eagles have the lead on that touchdown, but the Colts are on the move. Frank Reich, Doug Peterson matching widths. First down, Colts trailing by 4. 3 timeouts remaining for the Eagles and the Colts. Andrew Luck from the pocket. Going down to the 15 is T.Y. Hilton. Jalen Mills and Hilton going at it.
All day. They've been out there all day battling. And this is that tricky situation you get into, Chris. You need a touchdown to take the lead, but you also don't want to leave Philadelphia with a lot of time on that clock.
Hines gets the first down as the clock runs 1.5 minutes. Let's see if somebody used timeout here. It looked like the Eagles did. And Frank Reich thinking what you said, Daryl, because if you score too soon, not only do you have Wentz, who can rally a team, you got a field goal kicker who's made from beyond 60 previously. 4-point game. Colts are threatening. Is Frank Reich the not-so-secret weapon for the Colts against his former team, the Eagles, and Doug Peterson? You see the defenses have tightened up inside the 20 in the red zone, forcing field goals. Colts need more than that. From the 11 on first down. Hines, bottom of your screen. Luck with time for the end zone, incomplete. Eric Ebron the target.
Eric Ebron playing the traditional tight end spot. Eric Swope, number 86, going to go underneath, outside underneath. You've got the running back in the flat as well, trying to get it up over the top. A good job. A little deflection there at the linebacker level to change that pass.
They've thrown to Ebron a number of times today. He only has 2 catches for 10 yards. The injured Eagle is Nigel Bradham, slow getting up. And you mentioned Eric Swope, who's been with the team, played week 1, but back active after Jack Doyle was inactive, the hip injury. And the Eagles will use a timeout here they had with the injury rather than a runoff. They'll have 1 remaining. Andrew Luck, happy to be back at his 3rd start after missing all of last year. Not exceptionally sharp, but functional enough in this offense to be in a position to win this game.
Yeah, it's been one of those games where you've got an opportunity to win one ugly, and we'll see if Andrew Luck can pull it off here.
He goes underneath, falling inside the 5 to the 3.5-yard line is Eric Swope, former basketball player from Miami. And Eagles, the quick timeout, their last. And 1:22 to play.
And the ability to actually get a first down without scoring a touchdown here. Do you remember they started this drive at the 11-yard line? So this is not a goal-to-go situation. Here on 3rd and 4th down.
Coming up on Fox after this, the Cowboys and Seahawks. From the AFC South, the Titans won in Jacksonville. Titans are the next opponent of the Eagles. Colts, all 3 of their timeouts, facing a 3rd down and 3. end zone throw and overthrows T.Y. Hilton. Ronald Darby with excellent coverage on Hilton.
Yeah, it looked like he had an opportunity right on the release. You're going to see he's kind of going to just run a flash out to the corner. Looks like he gets up on top and just couldn't track that ball in.
It's now a 4th down and 3, trailing by 4. Darryl Johnston, Chris Myers, Frank Reich comes back to Philadelphia as the head coach of the Colts, trying to stage an upset. Luck, pressure coming, and he gets out of it, and he stumbles, and he's sacked at the 20. Derek Barnett, the frustration in Andrew Luck, and the Eagles needed to win with defense.
Derek Barnett's going to be the end. It was the situation we talked about. LaRaven Clark out there. That's only his 2nd start at left tackle, going up against a speed edge rusher. And you had no tight end help. You had all your tight ends over to the right side. And on 4th down, you don't even get the play off.
It looked like Luck thought he had somebody to go to. He just couldn't get set to get it there. Only the 2nd sack for this Eagle defense today, but a big one. And denying at the moment the Indianapolis Colts the franchise's 300th victory. As Luck frustrated, Colts still have all 3 of their timeouts. Clement thrown down right away. And looks like Indianapolis will use one of those timeouts. They'll have 2 remaining. Carson Wentz on the go-ahead touchdown drive was 8 out of 8. He started out looking really sharp.
Yeah, he's had a nice afternoon. He's answered a lot of questions today with plays like this here, showing his escapability again. You know, looking similar to where he was in 2017, really looking exactly like he was in 2017. The tight end's a big factor in the game today for the Eagles offense.
He suffered an interception and a lost fumble, but when needing it most, marched the team on a lengthy drive, chewing up much of the 4th quarter, and Smallwood punching in the touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown. That's how the Eagles lead by 4. Just over a minute to play. Clement to the 20. And another timeout. The Colts will have one more. We talked about this being, although varying degrees of a comeback. Those are the numbers on Andrew Luck and Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and again, this is a transition. This is not going to be an offense that's throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game for the Colts. So that's, you know, an average day at the office now for Andrew Luck, just 129 yards.
But had a chance at the end and may still have a chance based on this next snap. Both quarterbacks without some of their top offensive talent. Jay Ajayi, Darren Sproles, Alshon Jeffrey out for the Eagles. No Jack Doyle or Marlon Mack for the Colts. And Doug Peterson a minute, 2 seconds away from a 2-1 start. Colts will have another timeout. That'll be their only way to stop the clock. Now, do they throw here on 3rd and 9? Would you dare if you're the Eagles? Get the first down. It's over. Wentz for his tight end. He's got the catch. He's short of the first down. Dallas Goedert, the rookie. And it will be a 4th down for Philadelphia and a timeout for the Colts, their last.
And I like the play call. It was an aggressive play call. You're going to throw the football with the chance of an incomplete pass that stops the clock, and now Indianapolis has one in their pocket for their possession. But it's a safe play. It's something you feel comfortable in executing and being able to keep that clock alive. And a credit to Frank Reich and his staff and his players, you know, being through this whole second half, not having to call a timeout, being able to pocket all 3 of those timeouts until you absolutely needed them at the end of the half.
Johnston ready to punt, and T.Y. Hilton, the Colts put him back. He has not been returning punts all day, but they're hoping for a breakaway return. Trailing by 4 and out of timeouts, 53 seconds to go. Hilton from the 20. sprints towards the sideline and gets out of bounds around the 28, and a flag flies. And this could be big with the amount of time and the amount of field left to cover. $20 penalties combined, 10 on each team today, have been accepted, and it has had a major effect on the game to this point. They did have a flag picked up at one point.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both by the receiving team. During the return, illegal block in the back, number 30. That penalty is declined. During the kick, holding, return team number 30. 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. First down.
That'll back up the Colts and Frank Reich even more. I'll tell you, Doug Peterson, he has that book out, Fearless, How an Underdog Becomes a Champion. Frank Reich might be writing that kind of book at some point, the way his team came in here and battled the defending Super Bowl champs. From the 11-yard line, 89 yards away, and no timeouts. Buck scrambles and throws to his tight end, Eric Ebron, who gets out of bounds. Looks like he's just short of the first down. Let's get a quick game break with Carissa.
Thanks, Chris. Just want to let you know what's coming up next. America's Game of the Week. The Cowboys able to get their offense back on track. Meanwhile, Seattle looking for their first win of the season. They haven't started 0-3, Chris, since 2002. It's all coming up next.
Thank you very much. And a day there with some stunning upsets. The Colts gave it their best shot. And are down to the last 30 seconds. Underneath Hines. He'll get out of bounds with a first down. And that was something Doug Peterson said he started as a theme to this season with his team and to himself, that we used to say you want to beat the best. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. Well, after they were the best last year, teams are coming after them with that same approach.
Yeah, a different way of saying you've got the bullseye on your back, or you're going to get the best from every opponent. And I thought he backed it up with a good thing. You know, that's what I told our team before the Super Bowl last year. New England is considered the best. If we want to be the best, we got to go out and beat the best.
The challenge of repeating, but he does have Wentz back. As Luck goes to Ebron, juggles and goes out of bounds and did not make the catch. He was juggling it. He's had a rough afternoon here as he went out of bounds.
Just doesn't get it clean and get it secured before he goes out of bounds. Had an opportunity for T.Y. Hilton on that next tier. There was a level beyond where Eric Ebron was.
You can see the Eagle defenders, Darryl, dropped back like 20 yards, 30 yards. I mean, they have people back at midfield as Wentz just grateful to be back playing in a game since December of last year. 288 days. Going out of bounds is Hines. 13 seconds remaining.
Getting yourself to a point where you want to at least be able to take a shot on a Hail Mary type situation down into the end zone. So can Andrew Luck get him to that spot on the field where Frank Reich feels comfortable in his arm strength to get it into the end zone?
Well, you started the broadcast talking about the right fit. They got the right coach in Frank Reich at Indianapolis, where his coaching career began as an assistant and as a head coach with Luck. And regardless of the result today, reason to be optimistic if you're a Colts fan.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of a different style of football here. And this is the second week in a row where Andrew Luck has not put up great numbers. Last week they were able to defeat the Washington Redskins, keep them out of the end zone defensively. This week, another week where he doesn't have great numbers, but you had an opportunity on fourth down inside the 5-yard line to go up by 3.
Colts will be home next week to take on the Texans after a loss to the Bengals and a win against Washington, and their performance here today. Ebron goes out of bounds, down to 5 seconds, and the Eagles will go to 2-1 and play on the road at Nashville against the Tennessee Titans and first-year head coach Mike Vrabel. Jacoby Brissett has come into the game, and he may be throwing the Hail Mary. Quarterback last year in the absence of luck. The former Patriot with a big arm. Brissett sets, fires. That ball's going to reach the end zone. And the Hail Mary unanswered for the Colts as the Eagles survive 20-16.
Well, this is a really nice drive. It gave the Colts an opportunity, and maybe a little bit long. You know, Jacoby Brissett throwing it a little bit too far. A little bit of help right there by the Eagles defense. That ball actually comes back right on the edge towards the field of play. But I love the way they worked down the field and gave him a shot at the end.
Competitive return to Philly for Frank Reich. Luck and Wentz look sharp as the Eagles win it. Kurt Menefee